Hello, I'm Mo O'Hara, and today I'm going to read from my picture book, Romeosaurus and Juliet Rex, and it is illustrated by the amazing Andrew Joyner, and I'm reading this book with permission from HarperCollins, because that's who publishes it. So I thought that we would start off today with a song. So I brought along my ukulele. So you might recognize this tune of this. This is a very classical tune, and you may or you may not recognize it, but it's new words. Ne'er a tale was more filled with woe than Juliet and her Romeo, but ne'er a tale made a child smile more than Juliet Rex and her Romeosaur. Star-crossed dinos, can they be friends? One needs meat, one's vegetarian. Can we be friends? I hear them roar. It's a problem as big as a dinosaur. Star-crossed dinos, can they be friends? One needs meat, one's vegetarian. Star-crossed dinos, will wait and see. If I lived back then, would they try to eat me? I'm pretty sure they would. I'm fairly confident that if I lived back then, the dinosaurs would try to eat me. Well, actually, one of the types of dinosaurs would try to eat me, and one of the types of dinosaurs didn't. You guys might know these because you're probably really big dinosaur buffs, but there are mostly two types of dinosaurs. There are the kind of dinosaurs that eat meat, the carnivores, and the kind of dinosaurs that just eat vegetables and ferns and stuff, and they are the herbivores. Now, I have someone here who's gonna demonstrate. He is literally just catching a fly because he is a carnivore. This is my cat Forrest. You guys might know him from other videos. So hello, Forrest is here with me recording today too. He doesn't like it when I play the ukulele because it occupies a lap, but he's going to hang out for the rest of the session. So, and Forrest and cats are carnivores because that means they're meat eaters, so they like that. So yeah. He's not descended from dinosaurs. Well, maybe he is. I need to look that up. So I'm going to read the book, Romeosaurus and Juliet Rex. And then I'm going to give you some craft ideas and stuff of activities you might want to do afterwards. But this is the book. I hope you like it. Romeosaurus and Juliet Rex. Ne'er a tale made a child laugh more than Juliet Rex and her Romeosaur. Once upon a time, 150 million years ago, two families, both alike in lizardness, lived in the swamplands of Verona. See, there's Shakespeare's. He wrote it. Romeosaurus's family were herbivores. Yay, ferns for dinner! Yay, they said. Juliet Rex's family were carnivores. Yay, herbivores for dinner! Yay, they said. You can see why the two families didn't really get along. Yeah, kind of obvious. One day, Juliet Rex was stomping through the swampland on her way to the dinosaur ball when she said to Nursedactyl, "Do my arms look small in this?" "Of course, dear," Nursedactyl answered. Meanwhile, Romeosaurus was clomping along with his friend Mercutiotops on their way to crash the ball. Now, normally when a Stegosaurus and a Triceratops crash a ball, you would know it. But this time, they went in disguise because this was a masked ball for herbivores only. The carnivores really know how to throw a party, and Juliet Rex was waving her tiny arms in the air like she just didn't care when she spotted a dinosaur she'd never seen before. She swished her tail to say, he swished his tail to say hello. She thumped her tail back to say, "I might be casually waving hi, or I might just be swatting a prehistoric bug. Your call." Romeosaurus went over, and the two dinos danced. They giggled, and they talked, and they played, and they started to become friends. "Do you want to get something to eat?" Juliet Rex asked as she led Romeo over to the buffet table. "I'll Auntie Gladys, Romeosaurus gulped. Look, there's his Auntie Gladys on the table with an apple in her mouth. Romeosaurus rushed to help Auntie Gladys off the table and take the apple out of her mouth. Wait, you're a herbivore, Juliet Rex asked, taking Romeosaurus's mask off. And you're a carnivore. Just then a fight broke out at the dinosaur ball. Apparently, Mercutiotops had poked Juliet Rex's cousin Tybalt Rex with his horns while he was dancing. You better go, Juliet Rex said, sneaking Romeo out during the commotion. Will I see you again? Romeosaurus looked back and smiled. That night, Juliet Rex looked out from her cliff-top balcony. Romeosaurus, Romeosaurus, wherefore art thou, Romeosaurus? She said. Psst, I'm down here, Romeosaurus answered. Stegosauruses aren't very good at climbing. It's the tail, really, and the weight, and the complete lack of claws to grip anything, he said. There's a stone ramp over there, Juliet Rex answered. Oh, thanks. Once again, they giggled and they played and they talked and they laughed, and they became true friends. My family would never want me to be friends with you, Juliet Rex said. I mean, I could never invite you over for dinner. You'd be the main course. My family wouldn't like it either, said Romeosaurus, especially Auntie Gladys. Then what are we going to do? Juliet Rex wondered. When Nursedactyl woke the next morning, she found that Juliet Rex's bed had not been slept in, and she found a note. A herbivore is my true friend, so off I go to Swampland's End. Nursedactyl flew down to the herbivore's home and tapped her talon on the door. Auntie Gladys answered. Ah! She screamed and fainted. Look. Mercutiotops pulled Auntie Gladys out of the way, and Nursedactyl showed him Juliet Rex's note, and he showed her a note that Romeosaurus had left for him. You have always been a friend to me, but a carnivore has set my heart free. Nursedactyl made a face. They're not very good at poetry, are they? But they do seem to care a lot about each other, even though they're so different. I guess they have bad poetry in common, Mercutiotops said. We need to find them. They're headed for the tar pits, and that is dangerous for any dinosaur, carnivore or herbivore. Nursedactyl flapped her wings and carried Mercutiotops above the swampland until they reached the tar pits. But they could see some things floating in the tar. Can you see floating in the tar? It's Romeosaurus's hat and Juliet Rex's backpack. We're too late, shrieked Nursedactyl. Oh, we should have let them be friends, Mercutiotops cried. You're right, Nursedactyl said. Then maybe they'd still be here. But we are here, Juliet Rex said as she and Romeosaurus came out from behind a boulder. My little dino! Nursedactyl gathered Juliet Rex for a wingy hug. Mercutiotops spluttered. But the hat, the backpack. We were just looking for a big stick to fish them out when you showed up, Romeosaurus said. So, can we be friends? Juliet asked. And just to be clear, carnivore friends don't eat other friends, right? Romeosaurus added. I could never eat a true friend of my darling Juliet Rex, Nursedactyl said. Then she whispered to Romeosaurus. But if you break her heart, you are in a sandwich by lunchtime. So, it's a deal. Carnivores and herbivores will be friends, Mercutiotops said. And they all shook hands on it. Except for Juliet Rex, because her arms wouldn't reach. But she nodded in agreement. And they all lived happily ever after. That is, until... Dun, dun, dun! Because what happened to the dinosaurs? Why aren't there any dinosaurs here now? This is just an idea of what might have happened to them. So that is Romeosaurus and Juliet Rex, a kind of Jurassic classic mashup of classic stories with dinosaurs, because I love dinosaurs. And we came up with some ideas for crafts that you could do. So there are little masks that you can download, and you could draw a little mask and you could pretend that you are at a masked ball and you are Romeo and Juliet at the masked ball. And there's also Andrew, the amazing Andrew Joyner, has done this how to draw Romeosaurus and Juliet Rex. So he uses shapes that you could all probably draw, and you just stick the shapes together and you're actually drawing the characters Romeosaurus and Juliet Rex. And this is downloadable from my website, which is www.moohara.co.uk. That's moohara.co.uk. Like Mo O'Hara, but Moohara put together. So yeah, if you want to have a go at those activities, that would be great. For now, I'm going to grab Forrest to say goodbye, because he's been a little hunter, and he's hunted the fly that was in the room, but you might have heard the buzzing, and then the buzzing stopped. That was Forrest Fly Slayer. So he's going to say goodbye to you guys. Hopefully I will see you again for another story time. I have another book that is coming out next week in the same series, and it is called The Legend of King Arthuratops, and that's out next week. So I'm going to do a reading from that book as well. But for now, Forrest and I are going to give you a big dino wave. You can say goodbye, Forrest. Goodbye from us. Happy reading, and have a good time. Take care. Bye.